I am recording. So I just want to make sure, like I said, that everybody who's not able to be here still gets the information, because we've got a lot. First of all, congratulations to all of you rising seniors. Oh my gracious, you've made it. Here we are. We're coming up on your very last year of high school. Wow. And parents who are here, moms, grandparents, guardians of all kinds, this is it. Like, this is wild. This is a wild thing. And please, know that I am here with you. I have Everett, who is a rising senior as well at Crosstown. So we're all in this together. I'm really excited that Elizabeth Coleman is here tonight. You all know Miss Coleman. She's an incredible, incredible educator here at Crosstown High, working with students, mostly seniors, but some of the underclassmen. So some of you may have had her before, but it's really, really wonderful to have you here tonight, Elizabeth. And I'm glad that that everybody's here. Anyway, okay, I'll get started. I know there's a lot to go over. But I was talking with one of my colleagues at school today, who is in fact here tonight, Ms. Rhonda. I was talking with her earlier today about how when you're about to be a senior, like, it can be really overwhelming to think about like all of the things that are on the list in the process of planning. And so what we do is we break it down so that we're just taking kind of like bite-sized pieces of this whole process when we're planning. So tonight, what I've got for you is a good explanation of really what's coming up in the next, I'd say, 3 months, okay? So right now we're in June, right? We've got a few things that we're kind of looking out for or watching for or doing in this month of June when it comes to planning for this coming fall, which is when a lot of you seniors and a lot of your children, for those of you parents, are starting to make those plans, if they have not already, and filling out applications for different colleges and different programs for after they graduate. So in the month of June, I've got a little list of things that are going on, things that are happening, okay? Nothing like super duper critical, right? We've got, oh my gracious, first thing on the list. Look, you already did it. You can check that off of your list. You're at this Next Steps Zoom meeting, getting the information that you need for the coming months, right? So you can check that off the list. All right, so the 17th, which I believe is this Friday, is a deadline to register for an ACT that will be held in July. And that ACT is totally optional. It is not an ACT that like is required. It's just in case a student wants to take it again, having taken it, all of our rising seniors took the ACT last spring. And if they decide, I really want to have another go at it, just to get a little bit more practice now that I understand what the ACT looks like and kind of how I timed myself, I just how I did. So that's an option. It's certainly not required, but it's there if they want to give it a shot. So the registration deadline is the 17th. The actual test that is in July is on July 16th, and that is a Saturday. And the way that the ACT works, I know that some of you already know this, but I'll tell you again, is that, we offer the ACT on specific days at school, but also there are what are called national test dates. And that is what the July test is. It's a national test date. So when you sign up for the ACT through their website, they will tell you your test location, which may be Central High School or Booker T. Washington High School, lots of different locations around the city. But I highly recommend signing up early and also, planning to be there a little bit early on the test date. Make sure you stay up on your registration. The other thing that is helpful to be doing in June, whether you are a senior or you're the parent of a senior, is to really be thinking about what options you want to create for yourself for after graduation. So here it says continue college research. And remember that when we talk about college, we are referring to four-year schools, two-year schools, trade schools, any of those post-secondary plans are what we're talking about. So now is a great time to be looking up different opportunities for college, for trade school. You can use the tools of Naviance that I have shown the seniors how to use them, how to search for different schools that really fit like your criteria, whether you want to go to a larger school or smaller school, or one that you feel like is a good fit for you for various reasons. We all have different reasons. So I encourage you all to continue working on that list. You see at the bottom, it says refine the college list. We started working on college lists last spring with these rising seniors, and I feel like lots of students started thinking about this whole process. Some of them were like totally ready to dive in. Regardless of where they are, it's just important to be thinking about it and talking about it and kind of having it on deck, because it is totally, it's inevitable, it's coming, it's happening, guaranteed, like the sun will rise tomorrow. It's coming because time moves on. So I encourage you all to continue just all of that research. If you're able to during this summer break and you have the opportunity, go and tour a college. And it can be a local one, or it can be one out of town. It can be one that a student's interested in, or even not, but it just helps to be able to get your feet on the ground and see it for yourself. And so that way it helps students kind of narrow it down and figure out what they're interested in. So that's it kind of for the month of June. We'll move on to the month of July, where we've got a few things going on. So we are actually offering another round of ACT prep with Brains and Brawn, and that is the week that leads up to that July 16th national test date. So that week of July 11th through the 15th, we have that option, and I'll give you information about how to sign up for that further into this meeting. But that's kind of the first thing that's happening that month that has definite dates. And then we have the actual ACT at area schools. And again, all of this part is optional. It's not something that you have to do. And if you haven't signed up for it and you want to, go ahead. But if not, you can, no pressure there. And then look, you get to come back and join me on July 19th for another Zoom to get a little bit more information about some more things that are coming up. Because like I said, we don't want to do it all at once. It gets a little overwhelming. So in that month of June, on the 19th, which I believe is also a Tuesday, we'll meet again. Again, you see at the bottom of the list, we'll continue the college research. We'll refine the college list. Take off the schools that maybe you thought you were interested in, add on one that you just newly discovered. So that's a process that is always evolving. That list is. All right, moving on to August. Now here's where the real action starts. Okay. So August 1st is when the Common App opens. So that's the very first day that any rising senior can open up the Common App to begin the process of filling it out to apply for various schools that use that application. Many do. It's funny, there are some that we, of course, the ones that we apply to a lot, like University of Memphis does not use Common App. But it is still extremely useful and important to use it if your schools that you're interested in do use it, because you avoid lots and lots of extra work by using the Common App. It's very intuitive. It works really well. So I put on here kind of an obvious thing as our second item on this list, which is that August 8th, let's fast forwarding, August 8th is our first day of school, our first day of new seniors. Wow. It's going to be a big one, our very first day of school. So the reason why this is on here, the reason why that first day of school is on here, is to show you that once we are in school, we are going to hit the ground running with these seniors and get rolling on this planning process. So where you saw in June and July, we recommend like, yeah, look around, continue researching. In August, we are rolling. We're going to start the whole process of letters of recommendation from teachers and mentors and adults in our community, and of course in our students' communities that they've built outside of our school. We'll also talk a lot about filling out that Common App application and ways to connect it with Naviance, which is what our students have been using to search for colleges. And that is also the means for us to send lots of essential documents to colleges for their applications. And that happens later on. But it is something that, the actual sending of documents is later on, but connecting Common App and Naviance is really important in this process. And that's something that we will do on the front end, right in August when the Common App opens. And we'll also start the process of drafting their college essays. We will go over what are called the Common App essay prompts. There are 7 of them. I sent these essay prompts that are released. They're usually released like at the end of January or early February every year. And I sent them out to these rising seniors way back then. I will send them out one more time, just to make sure that they have them fresh in their email and fresh on their minds. They're these, really great prompts that are very self-reflective and help our students to really think about what part of their story is compelling and how, and to think about what they would like to share with college admissions when they are applying. So we'll get to work drafting those essays, and of course there will be more things that we do and more steps. But just so you seniors and also your parents know, we are about to set some things into action big time when we get to August. And it's certainly, when I say big time, I don't mean to scare you. It's nothing to be afraid of, because like I said, we take things in, bite-sized pieces. But we will have deadlines, and we will have assignments, and it will be a really fluid experience. I feel like it was for our class of 2022. And we know what we're doing here, and we'll get you guys there. So I'm going to move forward, but also kind of go back just to give you a little bit more detail. For those of you who are interested in test prep opportunities, we've got this course with Brains and Brawn that's an opportunity in July. If you are interested in that, you can send an email directly to mark@brainsandbrawnllc.com. I will make sure that email address is available even outside of this meeting to make sure that you all have that. So this is one opportunity for test prep that we have. Another one that is a really great resource is through Memphis Communiversity, and they offer summer ACT tutoring at the Benjamin Hooks Library or over Zoom. And they have on their website a means to sign up. I know that on this little graphic, it says, click the link in our bio, but on their website, they have a sign up so that you can contact them. And this organization was started by a calculus teacher at St. Mary's Episcopal School. And he has groups of students who are working with him on this tutoring. So it's a really, really great opportunity to work with them. And this is totally free as well. The ACT prep book, everyone's favorite, everyone's best friend, I kid, is also an option. And, there are some students who can totally pick up this book and sit down with it and go to town. However, I am not one of them. I know that we're all different kinds of learners, but this is an option. So we recommend this one as well, if that's something that you're interested in. Kind of also moving on, but also kind of going backwards for you parents. I know students, you've already heard me talk about this to death. But I just want to bring it back as a reminder. So your college list, remember, is going to have between 8 to 10 schools, 8 to 10 choices, divided 3 ways. And remember, your safety are the schools that you are like 100% sure you're going to get into. Your target schools are ones that like would be great and you are hopeful. Normally, like your top pick school, your top choice is in that target category. It's one of the 4. And then a reach school, one that like, I'm not sure if I can get in there, but I'll try anyhow. Because you never know. There are 2 to 3 that you would like to have. And again, like this list can be a combination of, 2 and 4 year colleges, military, trade schools, a gap year, apprenticeship programs. It can look various ways. And then the last important note here is just that we want to make sure that when you do create your list, that it goes in, that you enter it into your Naviance, that you add those schools to colleges I'm applying to. And the reason why we ask you to go ahead and do that, and you will hear me say it a million times this fall semester, is because that step has to happen in order for all of those essential documents to send. And again, that's something we'll talk about a little bit later on, but we want to be proactive on the front end.
Got a house in
Good. I wonder if that, I don't think that was a question. Hang on 1 second. So I'm imagining that because it's a little bit like this in my house at times. I'm imagining that there are some of you rising seniors who are really like not sure what it's going to be, what it is yet, all right. You might be feeling like you haven't really thought about it, or you might be feeling intimidated or anxious about the idea of, going to college or figuring out what is next. And if you are like this shark that has no idea what it's doing, that's okay. That's totally okay. We'll get there. We'll figure it out. This is a really weird and wonderful time where, you and your peers and your friends, like you're all going to be kind of exploring and figuring out some different possibilities. So, the one or really like, yeah, it is. It's really like the one thing that I ask of families, like both you parents and students, is to keep the conversations about that plan or lack thereof, keep them going at home. Now, if they become unproductive, you want to press pause. I always recommend, at least for my experience, like that has been helpful when conversations get difficult. And, because this is a big deal, like making these plans is a big deal, for moms and dads and grandparents and all the guardians. Seniors, your parents, believe it or not, are, like they're a little anxious about you guys growing up and moving on. And you are our babies. And we ask you, sorry, all you parents, I'm speaking on your behalf, but we ask you to be patient with us. And as we have been patient with you. And parents too, like I said, when it starts to feel like the conversation is getting frustrating and it's not productive, just pause and revisit it later. Because just the idea of growing up and moving on for everybody is challenging. It's hard. And so we just ask that you keep the conversations going. You don't have to decide, seniors, you don't have to decide tomorrow or next week or next month. You don't have to make these decisions then, but we ask you to think about it and talk about it and explore possibilities and come up with some choices that would be okay with you, or you might even be excited about. That's what we really want, is for you to be excited about it. Okay. And then the other part of this is that, I see that this shark is like still going, but for those of us who sometimes like hit a wall and like can't move forward, sometimes that can happen. You get overwhelmed and you're just like, I gotta stop. Maybe it's my turn to pause. Okay. However, there are some deadlines that can creep up on you within that. So what we ask of students is to go ahead, take the steps with us, meet these deadlines. And the crazy thing is that the path will reveal itself. It will unfold. So by you students, like if you, the ones of those of you who are feeling like the shark and you know, as long as you're willing to take some steps, you know, meet things kind of halfway, do your part, you'll be amazed. You'll be absolutely amazed at what comes together. Okay, so for you parents, really quickly, I just want to tell you so that you have a little bit of context about how the class of 2022 reached the point at which they are now. You know, we went through this process, obviously a year ago. I think you guys definitely have a head start on them, which I think will make this process a little bit easier. But as parents, you know, we get worried about money. We get worried about whether or not this can all work out for our kids. So I want you to know that this class of 2022, they actually were awarded over $10 million in scholarships. And that does not include scholarships given by the state of Tennessee, like the Hope Scholarship or the Tennessee Promise Scholarship or UT Promise. These were scholarships that were awarded by the institutions themselves. So I'm like, let that sink in just a little bit. It's wild. It's really wild and wonderful. It's wonderful to have students who, you know, put forth the work in their applications, and it's to really tell their story of who they are and how they came to be the people who they are. But also it's really wonderful to have admissions counselors out there or admissions people out there in these institutions who are able to recognize what the, you know, recognize that how incredible they are and are so generous. So we're really, really grateful to be able to say that this is, like I said, does not even include those volunteer scholarships from the state of Tennessee. A little bit more information just about how they fared. You know, out of 121 students who graduated, 100 of them are attending 2- and 4-year colleges. 5 of them are taking gap years, or a gap year, sorry. 10 are entering straight into the workforce, and then 6 are attending trade schools. So that's a little snapshot of kind of like where they have landed, you know, in this path. And clearly, you know, 1 year from where you all are now. So there that is. And then I just very, very last thing before I answer any questions that you may have, I just want y'all to know that you are free to email me at any time with any questions, especially if you have, you know, a specific situation where with your child, if you're a parent with your child, you know, you're concerned about certain areas, or maybe, you know, if you have a student who is like, I really want to go to school internationally, you know, I'm more than happy to help with that. Like I said, this process is big and long, and I don't want to overwhelm everybody with like a crazy amount of information. We're just focusing on, you know, this month, next month, and August. And once we hit August again, we'll hit the ground running and take a lot of action. But yeah, if you all have any questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat. Oh, I do see a great question from one of our seniors. And it came to me as a direct message, so I will protect your identity. The question was, do we have another at school ACT date? And I believe that last year, okay, Ms. Byer is given a thumbs up. I believe that last fall it was in October. Ms. Byer, do you have a date?
Yes, we will be doing the ACT at school for all of our seniors on Tuesday, October 4th.
Beautiful.
So that is on the books. We will be taking it at school that day. And you don't
Alright.
have to register through ACT or anything. Like if you're enrolled in our school, we will have a test for you on that day.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ms. Byer. So Tuesday, October 4th, you will eat the best breakfast of your life. That's going to give you all the brain power to come in and take the test the best that you will. So that's our date. So the question here with the ACT test, do they use the highest score or the latest score? Excellent question. So the way that the ACT works is that you can choose, but most students do what's called a super score, and that's basically like your greatest hits, you could say, for those of us who are in our 40s, where they look at your very best score in each area of the test and factor those together to create a new brilliant magical super score that is the best representation of the student's work on the test. So it's called an ACT super score. When your child, if you're a parent, when your child logs into their ACT account, that is like the home screen usually displays their most recent score. And then if they've taken the test more than once, it will show their super score right there on the home screen. So, great question. I was wondering if there is a designated place for the seniors to take their senior pictures at. Wonderful question. This actually came up this week at school because, we had a specific plan last year, worked really well. But I know that both Ginger and Chris have been out of town, and once they get back, those conversations will resume about senior pictures. So we do have senior portraits at school, or we did last year. I bet that we will this year, but we will know for sure in the coming weeks, and we'll definitely communicate that to everybody once we know the answer to that one. So yeah, of course. Any more questions? Anybody else? Oh, yes. I see a question from another senior asking, will we have a senior ring? I believe so. All of that information. Ms. Coleman, do you have a comment? I thought I saw you like.
That'll be an optional part of the graduation package, just like it was this year, is my understanding. Yes. So if you want to buy one, that'll be part of the purchase option with our graduation package. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Ooh, yes. Okay. All of this question about plans for a senior trip. We are cooking some. That is what I know. And they will be communicated as soon as they are solidified. So yeah. Okay. I do see a question about reaching out to college admissions over the summer. I would recommend focusing rather than concentrating on reaching out to college admissions. I would recommend, really reflecting and thinking about those essays and thinking about which one would be a good fit for you. And that's not to say you have to write it and submit it tomorrow or even on August 1st, but I would just recommend getting comfortable and familiar with all of that. What's included in the graduation package? That is to be determined. That is TBD. We just want to make sure that everybody's included in that conversation. And I know that, like I said, Ginger and Chris are getting back, I think, next week. So those conversations will resume once everybody's at the table. So yeah.
Yeah. And again, that's different. It's different options depending on what people want to buy. So it's not necessarily one set thing. But yeah, like Ms. Keys is saying, a lot of this will be discussed in the coming weeks too. So
yeah, we'll get all of the information about like different senior packages and different activities and all of the really special and fun things that we have, planned. And it's also been nice because just even in those preliminary conversations, We've had a couple of seniors who are interns this summer in the office, and we've had some student voice in that as well. So it's really nice to be able to lean on them for some feedback. So yeah, well, I know that your time is precious. I want to make sure that you all feel equipped, like you have what you need. Again, focus on those college lists and keeping the conversation going. And seniors, be ready for August, because we're gonna get busy. We're gonna get so busy, and I'm excited for you guys. And again, parents, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send me an email. I'd love to help. All right, with that, hey, I'll see you all next month, if not sooner, on July 19th, I believe it's a Tuesday. We'll be back here for a Next Step Zoom. So I'll see you all then. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.